Today's Mom's 70th wedding anniversary. She's going to tell us everything she remembers about that day, which may not be a lot.
Well, I think I'll start back to when Ken proposed to me. And I remember coming home and telling Mom and Pop what had happened.
Did you have a ring?
Yes. And Pop said, probably the worst day's work you've ever done in your whole life. Great congratulations.
And he liked Dad, didn't he?
Oh, no, he didn't think he was good enough.
But he liked Dad.
He liked him okay, but he just didn't think it was a good thing. He's such a sickly person. He's never going to be able to take care of you.
Oh, okay.
He had a lot of sicknesses when he was young. So we kept on preparing, of course, and set the date and everything. And the day of the actual wedding, it was in First Baptist Church in Glenville. Reverend DeBlock was the pastor there. And of course, back then we had no premarital counseling or anything. You decided to get married, you went and got married. And so it was on a Friday night, Friday evening. The wedding was on a Friday evening. And our honeymoon was going to be Saturday, Sunday, and back to work on Monday.
At Blackwater Falls.
Yes, Blackwater Falls. And it was a pretty exciting time for me. I mean, I just never had much of parties or anything given for me. And here, Helen and Art were coming all the way from Michigan to come to my wedding.
Did you have a new dress?
Hmm?
You have a new dress?
Oh, yes. I had a white suit that pictures on the wall in there. And,
where'd you get that? Did you buy that yourself?
I bought that myself. By that time, I graduated a year before Dad. So I was working for a lawyer in Weston, and I got my own wedding stuff. And I thought it was pretty exciting because all the Staretts were coming from Weston, and Helen was coming from Detroit.
Why'd you buy a suit instead of a wedding dress?
Well, I don't know. It just seemed like the smart thing to do, I guess. I just knew I wanted white, and you didn't back then. My sisters and Wilma got married in just a normal dress on the front porch of our and it wasn't a big thing to have. Now Juanita was the one that started the great big weddings. Mm-hmm. Lucille and all those others, they just got married. But Juanita did the great big thing with. I never thought I'd ever see so many bridesmaids.
Where'd she get married?
Here in Elyria. And so.
But you all came up for it.
Well, I don't think we did. I think it was just the pictures.
Saw pictures.
Pictures I remember. No, we didn't come up for her wedding. And then the night of the wedding, then everything went fine. I had people brought gifts. I remember opening gifts after we were married, and I thought, Helen and Art brought me a set of dishes, a goldish bronze set of dishes. I thought those were the prettiest things I'd ever seen. I still got a picture in there in the china cupboard.
That's all that's left is a picture?
That's all that's left is the picture. And after I got down to that point, I guarded it pretty safe because I wanted at least one piece out of that.
Mm-hmm. What did you have for cake or
just
food?
Just cake and punch. Probably nuts and stuff like that, but I don't really remember what it was. But it was cake and punch, just very simple.
And
reception.
Who was your maid of honor?
Rosalie.
Rosalie what?
Van Horn, Van Horn, the one that lived around the corner from us, and Rosalie and Corley, and I think her name was Laverne, picked me up to go to church with them at Cedarville. That's how I got saved, was because they were my good friends. Mm-hmm. And so Rosalie was married to Jim Furr, and Ken and Jim were pretty good friends. So there's just the two couples. So
he was the best man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
Did Bud and Bud and May come?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how many of your siblings do you remember?
I don't remember how many.
Did Grandma and Grandpa come?
Yes, yes, yeah. Uh, just the ones that were local, as well as, I mean, I don't think anybody made a big trip in just for that. I think it was mostly just the local people. And although I'd have to look in my book, I bet you, I think I have a book that has all my gifts listed, and everything in my souvenirs in there.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen that.
So I think I have that in there in my souvenirs with a list of the guests, a guest book I think I have. And then we took off with the traditional cans hanging onto the back of our car, and went to Weston and left everybody in Glenville, everybody else to take care of all things, and I was on my honeymoon for 48 hours or whatever. And by then we had already rented an apartment, 365 Mid Avenue, Weston, and we went there and spent our wedding night at their apartment, and left the next morning for Blackwater Falls, and then we saw, of course you're young and crazy and in love, and saw this, driving along, we saw this sign that said Triplets Street, and we stopped and took a picture of it because we thought we'd like to have triplets.
Yeah.
After we had you, we decided we didn't want triplets.
No, one of me is fine.
It was a pretty nice wedding, considering my background. I probably had as good a wedding as any of the girls except Loretta and Loretta.
I vaguely remember Loretta's wedding.
Yeah. Because Lucille, just like Wilma, just was going to get married, and that was it. There was no big party or no gifts, or as far as I know, there's nothing like that. So I probably had the best one at home, except for Juanita and Loretta. So.
You think Grandma Cather came? I wonder if she came. We should look at that guest book and see who came.
She would have to have been there, I'm sure. Yeah.
I think you told me one time you got that iron skillet that I have for your wedding present.
Could be. I don't know. So.
70 years, hard to imagine.
Well, you know, the thing of it I thought this morning is, how could it be 70 years? How did you spend 70 years just keeping busy with life? It can. Well, of course, that's the way everybody my age, we get together at church, see each other, and say, "How are you?" I said, "Well, we're hanging in there. How fast the time is going, and how come we're the old folks now? You know, it just doesn't seem possible." But 70 years. Well, we of course we're together 63 and a half years actually. So probably 65 counting the dating, but 63 and a half married together. So that's kind of the way it all began.
A long time.
And Rosalie and I are good friends, and Jim and Ken were pretty good friends, and we always said we got the two nicest guys in the whole high school. Because there was a bunch of bad kids there, and we felt like we had the best of both of us had the best two guys. So.
All right, there's the story.
There it is.
Pause.